Kia ora te whānau, nau mai haere mai, ki te Rangatahi Kei Runga podcast. I'm your co-host for this episode, Jordan Tuitama, and I'm going to throw it to my brother, and he's going to introduce himself. Kia ora, brother. Dos.
Kia ora. Oh, was it me? I don't know which one was the brother.
My bad. Kia ora, bro. Kia ora. Looking forward to today's podcast with our special guest. This is our fourth one that we've done, so we already know who I am. But we'll throw it over to the brother Willie to introduce himself. Tēnā koe, bro. Thank you for joining us.
Kia ora. Hello. My name is William Warbrick. 22 years old. Raised pretty much in Kōrero. Descent from Ngāi and Ngāti Rangati, and I play for the All Black Sevens team. True.
Is that it, bro?
Yeah. That's weird sort of saying that, wasn't it? It's my first time.
It's been thanks again for coming on with us, Willie. We appreciate that, bro, and your time. Obviously, it's a very, very lovely day where you are, bro. I'm guessing you're in the Bay of Plenty?
Yep, in the Bay of Plenty, just outside Te Teko there. It's pretty good.
Oh, nice throw to Te Teko, Texas. So you're Kawerau born and bred, bro. Tell us about, what schools did you go to, and your experience and your time living in Kawerau.
Oh, so kick it off. I've pretty much been raised in Kawerau my whole life and spent most of my early childhood and teenage years there. Went to school, primary school at Kawerau South School there, which was an awesome school. Can't even remember what preschool I went to. It was somewhere in Kawerau. Went to spent primary there, then went to intermediate at Whakatane, and obviously high school at Aotearoa Boys. But I got nothing but good memories growing up in Kawerau. I'm lucky enough to have a lot of friends that I met at a young age that I'm still close with now, which is pretty special. I guess many people sort of don't get to share that experience. You get to know everyone growing up. It's a small community, everyone knows everyone, and I like to think it's a sort of tight-knit community as well. So, I don't know. When I think back growing up in Kawerau, it's just, just simple times. We just made our own fun, it wasn't much to do. So we just go down to basketball courts, skate park, go to the river, which was a popular spot in the school holidays in summer. And it was simple, but life was good. It was good.
So, say life was simple back then. What was like one of your favorite childhood memories growing up in Kawerau?
Oh, favorite childhood memories. I used to like the school holidays. Where obviously in Kawerau, for a small town, there was quite a few primary schools back then. Yep. I think obviously a few of them, or one or two of them, got closed down. But so a lot of our friends went to different primary schools, so we couldn't see them during just the normal weekdays. So when it comes to school holidays, all the kids used to just rock on down to the skate park, and probably only a few of us will have a bike or a skateboard, but we all have turns, and we used to all go to Newell and get a 99-cent Pam's fizzy drink. And it was still the white and blue coloured brand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man, I think it was tropical and passion fruit were the ones. Used to go to a local fish and chip shop and get $2 chips. Just share between about 10 to 15 kids. It was pretty crack up, but even the river, there'll just be a whole group of kids, and for something that's just so basic or might not appeal to people now, it was a whole lot of fun, and there's just no stress, no worries. It was just people just enjoying each other's time. And I still remember those days 10 years on now, so I like to think of those times. It was good fun.
Bro, just going back to the next question, brother, moving on. What's currently happening with your career at the moment? Going through this, we're about to go back into lockdown. What's currently happening with the rugby sevens?
The players that are not playing Mighty Team Cup or Super Rugby, there's a few of us that's we just finished playing club rugby, so a few of us are just finishing up club rugby now. We're actually meant to come back in as a team to just sort of get back and sort of get into training, but nothing too harder, obviously, because we don't got set tournaments at the moment. So I think they'll just sort of bring in a team. The boys that are still left over, the boys come in and sort of just so we were training together and not sort of on our own individuals, sort of like that culture and that chemistry, sort of just staying connected. That was the word I was trying to think of the whole time. Just staying connected with the boys. So that was meant to start next week, but obviously now, it's a bit of uncertainty around it. So, and just recently, they cancelled the first two tournaments of the upcoming season, Dubai and Cape Town. So those were originally planned for early December, but those have been cancelled due to the pandemic. So a lot of things up in the air, but I think the team's main concern is just sort of everyone staying safe and healthy, especially with the virus. You don't want to just be worrying about rugby when obviously the virus is still going around. So yeah, I think main concern for the team is just sort of making sure everyone's healthy and still connected and staying reasonably fit.
Bro, one of the one of the things that made me really crack up was one time you drove past me in Kōrero, and then the next time I seen you, which was like maybe maybe a week or so later, and you're halfway across the world, and I was having a laugh to myself. What's been some of the cool like destinations that you've been to, bro? Because I know a young fella from Kawerau eating his pams and hot chips down at the river, to now going to across the world. What's that been like? Any favorite destinations? Any travel tips?
Yeah, I was actually lucky enough to go on. Obviously, it was my first season. I was lucky enough to go away on a few tournaments. Every place I've travelled to sort of been eye-opening and an experience in itself. It's quite funny to see like difference between cultures and countries and cities. Like it's pretty surreal. Obviously, my first trip was to Fiji, which was for the Oceania Sevens. And the thing I took away from that was just how passionate the people there are about rugby sevens. Like it's crazy. Like definitely the most passionate people of the sport, without a doubt. And just how humble it is, humble it is there. Like I think I've sort of come from a small town, humble beginnings, but it's luxury compared to some of the people over there, which they still live in villages, but they don't complain. And that's just the way of life. So that was pretty special to me. And then obviously coming from those beginnings for those people to some of the best athletes and rugby sevens team in the world, it's pretty crazy.
Like the Mecca of sevens, eh?
Like they were made for sevens, bro. It's crazy. But and then obviously my next trip was like from going to Fiji, a place like that, to Dubai, which is like on the other end of the scale. It's that city's out the gate. Like it's out. Like you just land there, bro, and there's just like skyscrapers everywhere. Like not everywhere. Like you're in the middle of a desert, and then someone just decided to build like the world's tallest building here. We'll chuck in a lagoon here just because it's nuts. It's pretty cool. So it's just like such a wealthy place. And then you go from Dubai. I was able to travel to Cape Town, which is sort of like, I don't know how to explain Cape Town. It's like a city, definitely like in a beautiful area, like the Tabletop Mountain. I'm not sure if you heard of Tabletop Mountain. It's unreal scenes there, but like it's like a mix of what you think of Cape Town when you see it on like the internet and stuff until you actually go there in person. You see on the side there's a lot of poverty and struggle there as well, which was eye-opening, and it was a bit different. definitely another lot of passionate fans as well. South Africans, very loud. Let you know who you are. Pretty funny. And then I was lucky to go to LA and Vancouver in March. LA was that's just huge. It's just massive. I think it's too big. Yeah, that's ridiculous, bro. Just how to like the traffic there and the travel, like just traveling around in car. It's nuts. I was lucky enough to go visit. Was it Venice Beach? I think it's Venice Beach. It's quite a popular beach there.
Oh, they've
Muscle
got
Beach and stuff.
yeah. They got that outside gym on the beach.
Yeah, like that. There was the spot we went there on our day off to have a look around and.
Shirts off, boys.
Shirts
Cool.
off. Huh?
Shirts off, boys.
Nah, bro, it was shirts on, bro. There's some big boys there. Holy heck, there's like guys that are like 6'8" and built like Hercules, or like, oh, we'll keep our jerseys on, boys.
Yeah,
Got shirts on, but yeah, there's a lot of cool things happening around there. Yeah.
So overall, bro, it sounds like it was a pretty mean experience so far. I mean, you've clocked up 4 or 5 countries?
Yeah. How much?
So
Yeah, 5 countries, 5 new countries, which is pretty cool.
Countries. Wow. And that's just from playing rugby, eh?
Yeah, it's just from playing rugby. It's pretty nuts. Like, yeah, it's funny when you say it. Like, it's just from playing rugby. Like, when I look back at it like that, it's sort of like, man, it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah. Now we'll get a bit into that a little bit later too. But I just wanted to talk to you about because I know you in rugby is not just something that you excel at. You play a few sports, bro, and you seem to excel at a few sports. What are what are some other sports that you enjoy? What are some things you've learned from sports that you've taken away and you can apply it in life, just for other listeners and viewers out there, especially the young up and comers?
Other sports. Yeah,
I know you try and play basketball.
Yeah, I'll say that for you. I was lucky to be put in athletics at a young age. That was my first ever sport, I believe, and something I was passionate about right up to going on to intermediate. I sort of stopped and went with rugby, athletics, soccer. That was my first sort of team sport, soccer, and then rugby league, touch. Social basketball.
There's no such thing as
social basketball. I dabbled in a little bit of like boxing there as well, which was pretty cool. What else sports did I play? AFL. That was a unique one. There was a few sort of.
What was unique about AFL, brother?
What was unique about it? It's for a sport that is so popular in Australia. It sort of felt so foreign here. If that makes sense, sort of like not the sport itself, but like just sort of the knowledge about it and the at school when you're growing up, you sort of get opportunities to play a bit of volleyball and PE or basketball, soccer, rugby, touch, but you don't just go to class one day and they decide to play AFL. So it was sort of like a whole foreign, like it was a foreign sport. Had to learn everything about it. Never watched it growing up, so I actually really enjoyed it too.
Yeah, you had a bit of success there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, for New Zealand I did, and there was a couple of opportunity if I wanted to go to Aussie there. Wouldn't say for the big time, but to play some decent AFL in Australia. But yeah, it's a pretty big move just to sort of leave the country. I was still only 18 to just go to Aussie and play some footy. So yeah, it's decided to stay in New Zealand. But I actually enjoyed it. It's quite a fun sport. It's a lot of skills and athletic ability involved in it. So yeah, it's good.
You're a bit of a dual international, aren't you? Didn't you you wore the form for AFL?
It was the first time I put on, I represented New Zealand in the sporting code, which was AFL and New Zealand 18s and men's, which was pretty cool. For New Zealand men's, we faced like the Australian Academy, which is like high school, I think. So just before they go into AFL or professional league, we faced them. They just pumped us like. And we all felt like I was only still a young 18-year-old, but I was playing with full-grown men and whatnot, and they just pumped us, man. That was just in a whole different league, but it was a good experience.
And just to touch on too, what positions do you play, bro? And do you prefer 15s or 7s?
So in sevens, I'm a forward in sevens. I'm what they call a prop in sevens. So
Wow.
you sort of have like built like a prop. Sorry. Now, obviously sevens, it's a fast, fit running game. So if you're a bit taller and a little bit bigger, usually in the forwards, and the backs are, they all run like under 11 seconds or whatnot, and can step every direction except forward. Actually, some backs do step forward, and it's not easy to tackle them. So it's a pretty versatile game. I'm a forward in sevens. What we call, you have a strike prop and a working prop. So a strike prop, so say you have a scrum on one side of the field, you have like a scrum, and then there'll be a winger, and then the forward will have a scrum and then reload as the other wing. So it's usually like a fast forward or forward that can play on the edge. And in 15s, I'll say I'm a wing centre, fullback. Yeah, outside back centre.
It's quite a contrast, Steve, going from prop to winger.
Yeah, well, there is, but there not really isn't, because the only difference is the set piece. Like, I learn how to lift in a line out in scrum, which is still pretty different to 15s. It's not like I learn how to scrum in sevens and scrum in 15s. No way. I'll leave that to professionals. But you just got to learn the set piece. And I guess sevens, everyone needs to know the same skills. Like, the forwards still need to be able to pass left and right, and backs still need to be able to secure rucks and whatnot. So, and it's not like the forwards are slow in sevens. Some of them are bloody quick. So yeah, it's a bit of a contrast. 15s is a lot more direct, and like when you run into contact, there's usually two other people tackling you. In 7, it's a lot more one-on-one. That's how I describe it too. I don't know which one will be my favourite. It's like, I like sevens, but it's a tough old sport. It's tiring. It's hard on the body and mind.
Nice. So you mentioned earlier that you went to Rotorua Boys High School. What was that experience like? Like, how did you find it?
When I went to Rotorua Boys, and I was a hostel student for all my years there. Obviously, when I went to Rotorua Boys, I only knew like probably a couple other people before going there.
Yeah.
But like, those people when they went to school already knew heaps not heaps, but knew other mates from like representative teams in rugby at a young age. So yeah, I didn't really know many people, but it sort of helped that I was in a hostel, because there was other students that were sort of in similar shoes. So it was easier to make friends at a young age, which is pretty important. I think if you want to go to a whole new school, different city, like, you got to need those friends, because you don't want to be sort of isolated, I guess. And yeah, starting off, I thought it was going to be easy, but got a bit homesick in first term. And once I sort of, just hung on and got through term 1, like, it was easy going after that. I wasn't homesick once. I was actually probably stayed away from home a bit too much. Yeah. Could get away with more at Rotorua Boys than home now. It was good. And then I felt it was easy to make new friends that weren't in the hostel as well, just day students.
Yeah.
They were from Rotorua, and so you make one friend this day, and then next week you got 10 friends, and the whole school. Not really, but
Yeah.
And yeah, I've met some of my best friends and bros from Rotorua Boys. I'm still very close to them now, and it gave me a lot of opportunities I probably wasn't able to get back in Kawerau or in the Eastern Bay. Not saying that like you can't get anywhere here, but it sort of was just a different, different experience, just going to a different city and boarding school. It just sort of opened my eyes to some other things to do what I didn't know about.
Yeah.
I know Rotorua has a special place in Dawson's heart.
It's the centre of the universe, brother. Centre of the universe.
Oh,
I know Raukura have a very a prestigious reputation in terms of rugby. I mean, did you play rugby while you were there, bro? Because I mean, you're playing for the New Zealand All Black Sevens now. It sounds like the trajectory would have been that you played first 15, but what kind of happened there?
yeah, well, I had a few reasons why I wanted to go to Aotearoa Boys, and I heard that they were like a very strong rugby school, like if not the best in the Bay of Plenty. So that was one of the reasons why I sort of wanted to go to that school. Yeah, I played. How do you explain? When I was a year 9, I think it was year 9. When I was year 9, I was like a young buck for my age, like my year level, if that makes sense. So most of the students were all 13. I was 12, so they sort of had a year on me in terms of size and size and whatnot. So at a young age, I was sort of already disadvantaged because I don't know what some of these students are eating, man, because they were huge. And I was the opposite to what I am now. I was like short, skinny ass, still skinny.
Malnourished.
Yeah, just tiny ass, bro. And my first year, year 9, I actually played club rugby under 13s because I couldn't make the under 14s team, which was fair enough. And then the next year, year 10, I tried for the under 14s team, and then I think I made the top team, but I was sort of always the bench warmer behind these year 9 kids, and it was like sort of stuck in my head. I was like, oh, these guys are only year 9 and can't even make the starting side. And I think I got an injury early in my year 11 year, which would have been under 15s. I didn't make the under 15s rugby team, and then senior years I played third 15, second 15. I couldn't crack the first 15. And it was just purely because I just wasn't good enough to make the team. Like, it was just, it's the honest reason. Like, there's some good players. Some really good players, actually.
I think I find it quite hilarious that you were riding the bench for so many years at Okura, and
So
then
not even been on the bench anymore. Like at school, I just in that stuff rugby, which I actually did in my last year. I actually quit rugby because I was year 13, and I was trying to make the second 15, and I was just always on the bench, and I was sort of between the second 15 and the thirds. And that was the same reason. Like the other students were just better, and I wasn't really having fun. I was like, why am I playing like rugby if I'm not even enjoying it and only playing like, luckily 5 minutes on a Saturday? And the thing that really stunk for me was that my parents are really like just passionate supporters of like not even me but my sisters, like our sports. My sister, my nieces. And like they used to always come over every weekend and watch me play. And some weekends I wasn't even playing. I was like, man, stuff this. Like,
oh man,
I felt stink. I felt like it was my fault. So quit rugby that year. Went to rugby league. Under 17s played league, which I was able to play some decent minutes. And yeah, so that was my rugby journey at high school, really.
Oh, it cracks me up because I want to get into the next part too. So you finished high school, right? And you finished playing. So you're not playing rugby.
Yeah, when I finished high school, I was playing league, which I got seen to play AFL. So I was playing rugby league and AFL in my last year of high school. I gave up on rugby. Yeah, straight up.
And then I know like you probably go forward 1 or 2 years, and then you end up going to is it the Ignite Sevens?
Yeah, Ignite Sevens. What year was that? Has to be 2018. I think it was 2018.
So you finished school what year?
Yeah, 2018, yeah. So a few years after. So I finished school, went to try to study uni for a bit, 2016, didn't crack it there. Came back home, I was with you, 2017. Finished there, and then 2018, I was a tradie. Yeah. Oh, I've done a bit, I've had a few life experiences, which was good.
Rode the bench.
2018, so that's about 3-4 years before I got back into rugby 2017, so I had a couple of years off. Yeah, so what was it? Ignite, how I got into there.
Yeah, because it always it's quite an interesting story, bro, and something that I really like you to share.
Yeah, sweet. So by then I was in my second season playing senior rugby for good old Texas. Shout out to
Texas
Texas
Rugby.
Rugby Club.
Shout out.
Yeah, second year playing for them. At the same time, I was just starting off as a tradie for fire sprinkler systems. Shout out to them too, Argus Fire. So I was working as a tradie by day, and then just playing just club footy. And then one night, like I was just on Facebook and I seen like the advertisement for Ignite Sevens, and it was like if you want to be the next All Black Sevens Olympian or something like that. That was the way they were marketing it. So I was like, oh, what's this? And then like you could register to be in like a pool of players, and they'll just select about, I think, I'm not sure if it was 96 athletes or 96 boys and girls. Might have just been 96 athletes altogether, and then 48 boys and girls there. So it was only like 48. That doesn't sound right. Oh, it doesn't matter. Like there was only a small amount of people selected. So I registered for that earlier on in the year. It was like September or August. Club rugby had just finished. Registered for that. Like you just put your name down, your sporting history, your size, your weight, whatnot, your age, and didn't hear back from them for like probably 3 months. So like 1 month had passed, and I was like, oh, Rachel, I must have not got picked for it. So I just carried on being a tradie, and I think club rugby had finished, and so I was enjoying my weekends, if you will, hardly training. And then I got an email one day. I think it was like a month out from it. Month out from the actual like the tournament or whatever, and they just said, oh, you're being selected, congratulations, here's a 3-week program to get you conditioned for the tournament, because they do like testings and stuff there as well, not just rugby. Like they test like a combine, NFL combine. See that? It was like sort of like that. I probably did 1 week's worth, if that, of training leading up to it. Me and the boys, we have some good weekends out and work. When you're in your tradie, you work hard during the week and then relax on the weekend. Well, that was me as well. So yeah, I probably did like a week's worth of training, if not 3 days worth. At the same time, I had played club sevens, and I was trying to make the Bay men's sevens team, but I wasn't really feeling it. Like I was just like, I don't know if I want to spend my summer doing all these fit, because sevens, you got to be fit. The fitness is way more intense than 15, so I wasn't keen on spending my summer just running. So I was like, I pulled out of the men's sevens team, wider group. There was still like a wider squad, and that was like a week before the Ignite, and I was going to pull out at Ignite as well. Well, I actually was. I was like, I can't be stuffed. Sevens is too tiring. And it was my mum and dad. My mum and dad were like, I told them about it, and they were like, "Oh man, this could be a good opportunity for you. It's like an event where people could be watching, or coaches are watching, or like just a bit of spotlight. Especially for me, that sort of, I don't get much. You don't get much spotlight out in the Eastern Bayways in terms of rugby. If I'm being honest, like. Yeah, everyone sort of knows that. And unless you're Unreal. But I was like, and then they just said, you know what, you can just, after the Ignite, you can just have the whole summer off, no sports and that off, and just let your body, relax, recover. So I decided to level up with like probably a couple of days worth of training. And the funny thing was, like, people registered for it, but a lot of the players that went there were part of like under 19 academies for provincial unions, and they were just what's the word, like they didn't have to register. They were just like, like their unions would be like, this would be a good opportunity, we'll send you to this gig.
Cool.
So a lot of the players, like, it wasn't just like a tournament full of newcomers. Some of them were, but there's some really good footy players there, and young footy players. So here's old me, the old tradie by day and club rugby player by night, rocking up here with a couple of days training and bit overweight and no fitness, and all these other kids there, they're like tip top shape. And yeah, spent a week there. Did my testing, like I did all right in my testing. Besides the fitness, that was sort of below average. For like just stuff like probably just strength. Probably just strength, to be honest. Not even speed, bro. Like it was all good, but it wasn't like nothing stand out. We had like the skill session thing that was all right, but I think one advantage I did have was probably my just the way I was built. Like I was sort of tall and lean, and 15s I played as a back, so they're like, or I started having people like approach me, like coaches and scouts and whatnot, sort of approaching, asking they were asking, who's this dude here? Who's this William Warbrick? And then
This tradie from Kawerau.
yeah, that was legit what my details said. They're like, from Kawerau, works as a fire sprinkler fitter. And I was one of the older ones there too. I wasn't like an 18-year-old. I was probably 20. I can't remember. 20. Yeah, 20. Yeah, that was like, that's probably all my details said. And I remember the other one was his nickname's Llama, and they actually said it on TV. It was crack up. Yeah, so I was starting, like, I must have raised a few eyebrows just from just my stature, I guess, which I was lucky to have. And then yeah, comes game time, and I had a few good runs here and there throughout the day, and yeah, they ended up selecting me as one of the 3 MVPs, which I'm still sort of surprised about, to be honest. Like, there's another dude there that was ripping it up, and he missed out. But 3 MVPs, and they went on to trial at the Sevens development team. They picked the New Zealand Sevens development team that travelled to Japan and played some games there, and played some games in Auckland against Tonga. So that was in January, about a month or two later, and once I sort of knew that I was trialling for this development side, I sort of just like, nah, I can't let this one slip away. I've got to train pretty hard here. So actually did a lot more running, training, eating well. Went to the trials, got injured in the first training, couldn't train the next 2 days, and then was able to just managed to be able to play in the trial games, and played well enough in the trial games to get selected. I even got told, they're like, man, if you don't play these trial games, you're already cut because you couldn't train in couldn't do the testings and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
He played one sort of we can't leave this fella out. So I was lucky there. He played the development team, and should I carry on into the Sevens? Where we went from there?
Yeah, so from the development, so you at the Ignite Sevens, you got the MVP. Then you cracked the New Zealand development team.
Yep, made the New Zealand development team, which was, we just travelled to Japan, played Japan development for 5 games, and then March we played Tonga and Auckland for about 5 games. Sore body.
Is Tongan boys, eh?
Yeah, Tongan still, you probably give them 10 metres either side, and they still want to run it straight at you. So Tongan side steps. Big boys, man, hit hard. Yeah, so played them, and yeah, I played all good. Everyone in our team was mean, and then after that I got a message from phone call to come in for a week just to see how the top team, the actual Sevens team, trains and go about their business. So I come in for a week there, and I was as a replacement player because they had a few injuries. They actually had a lot of injuries, and I was sort of like a backup. I was just to fill their numbers out for training so they can carry on doing their drills, opposed stuff. And then come in for a week, then go back to normal life. And I'll get another message like, oh, can you come in for a week again? Going for a week, and then it was coming for a couple of weeks. And then by then it was already halfway during the year, and I was just like, oh, they don't got any, oh man, I might have missed my shot for Sevens. And then got invited after club rugby had finished. I got a message to come join them for a whole pre-season, which was like a few months. And at the end of the pre-season, they offered me a contract in November, I think. I was there from August, September, October. So yeah, about 3 to 4 months I was training there. Just on a temporary deal, and then at November they gave me a 2-year contract, which was pretty cool. It's a bit of a relief, to be honest.
Bro, that's
doing all that training to just go back home, which was awesome. Yeah,
bro, that's an awesome story. Like
yes,
a different avenue. Like you went to a rugby school, didn't play rugby, you almost threw it in. You know, and now you're a professional rugby player. So was this always the plan? Like, was it always the vision? Like, deep down inside, did you always want to be a professional athlete, or did it just end up like that?
At high school, because I wasn't doing so well for my rugby, I sort of had to do well in a different area, which was sort of my academics. So I had to take that seriously. So I was decent there, and then when I decided to go to uni, I seen a lot of my mates sort of like still trying to play playing rugby and whatnot, just provincial. And then I think I got a bit jealous, bro. Like I was just like, man, I'm at uni and these fellas are like getting paid to just train and stuff. And I was like, man, I want to be a professional athlete, and started watching YouTube motivation videos and day in lives of professional athletes. I was like, man, I want to be like that. And I actually I remember one night I had to sit down with my parents and like, man, what do you want to do? You can't just do nothing. You're the age now, you can find a job. And I think I told my dad, I was like, man, I just want to be a professional athlete. And he actually reminded me about it when I told them about the news that I got a contract for Sevens. He was like, I still remember when you told me about when you sat down and you told me you wanted to be a professional athlete, and they sort of allowed me to sort of like pursue that goal. Like I left the tradie life to go study, but the reason I went to go study was so I have more time to train. Jump on the speed alone. I didn't tell them that. I was like, I'm just going to go study some business. But the reality was spend a few hours a day and then spend the rest just training, hopefully get caught up. So it was always it was always a goal. But now, it's pretty crazy looking back at it.
Yeah, it's such a crack-up story when I think about it. Because I had the privilege of having you as a student at Te Wānanga, Aotearoa, and you definitely made things easy for me as a kaiako. But we had a great time that year. What were some of the learnings you may have or may not have? Things that you won't do, or maybe you will. During your time studying with us at Te Wānanga, Aotearoa. And what did you?
Sorry, I missed what you just said then.
Oh, what did you study?
Oh, that was actually an important year. That was the year I came back from uni, and I was sort of like what am I gonna do? Like, I had no clue what direction I wanted to do. I just finished uni, got no sporting gigs. So I moved back home. My old man got me a job where he was working earlier on in the year. I think it was like February. Went there, hated it.
You sound real lazy, bro.
Bro, I just hated it. I was like, man, this is not me. This isn't me, bro. And then end up leaving, and then my man's like, well, you can't just be at home doing nothing. You got to do something. And then that's when I think you reached out to me, because you heard I was back in Kōrero. Or I was back in Kōrero, and you reached out to me. He was like, I'll jump on my course for you. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I was obviously interested in sports and health and whatnot, and jumped on to sports leadership level 4, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
Yep, jumped on that course. It was an interesting journey from being coming from a pretty strong performing school, both like extracurricular and academic, to go into uni to making a full circle back to kōrero. Like I left kōrero to go to boarding school, and here I am back in kōrero now. Like it was a weird full circle, but I think it was a good experience. Like I needed that. It was sort of like it was pretty grounding. Even sort of hanging out with people I thought I'd never hang out with. Some of the students, but they were actually real cool people. And I was like, these are the people are sort of like same as me, growing up in kōrero and stuff. So first thing I think I got from that year was like just the humble, like sort of don't get too much of a big head, nothing wrong with home. So I felt grounded. And then the other thing I did learn was like, I think it was like more the community side of it. We did a lot of community things, eh?
Mm.
Did a lot of community stuff, giving back, helping out, supporting, local businesses and whatnot, and schools. And then I think like that's probably one of the biggest takeaways I've had from it. Like, sort of don't forget where you come from, but always sort of try help or give back if you can, which I'm starting to get pretty passionate about now as I get wiser and older. But like, yeah, it was a community thing, helping others. Yeah, it's hard to put into it. Like, it's sort of like that sort of stuff. Like, that's definitely what I take most away. Like, what I mostly take away from that year.
Yeah, one of the things that's really important for Te Wānanga Aotearoa, and that's our vision, is whānau transformation through education.
Yep.
And we pride ourselves on being able to offer opportunities in hard to reach communities. So obviously having a campus in Kawerau is really important, and when we've got students from all walks of life,
hard,
and we all coming together as one. But I think the cool thing for us, and especially your year, there was a really great kaupapa, and everyone was vibing. Everyone was on board, and we actually did quite a lot of things. One of the things I remember with yourself and your fellow classmates is our gym sessions. And I've got some footage I won't share with the world, bro.
It's already been shared, mate. The damage is already done.
You've got a reputation to uphold now as a All Black Sevens player, but
yeah.
One of my fondest memories is all the boys in the gym, shirts off, and doing dance videos.
Back before TikTok.
I don't even know if I even feel ashamed about it. It was good times, wasn't it? It was fun. It was good vibes, good energy. Sad thing about it wasn't just one video. There was like video each week. we knew we were being videoed, and we still carried on. Oh, all the boys.
I mean,
just how that started.
Oh, sorry, bro.
No, I was just saying, I can't even remember how we even brought that idea up. It just happened.
When you're a kaioko e Te Wānanga Aotearoa, bro, you come up with many ako strategies to engage students, bro. And I know the boys love the mirror, so I knew they love the camera. One of the things we pride ourselves on at Te Wānanga Aotearoa, bro, is being Māori. Yep. What does that mean to you, bro? If I could ask you that, like, what's it mean to be Māori, and to be able to do what you do, and I guess thinking about the next generation of kids in Kawerau down at the river eating chips and fizzy drinks, or what's something that you'd like to say to them or pass on to them?
It's deep, bro. Got me thinking.
No pressure.
It's hard. It was definitely there's actually the other thing that sort of opened my eyes to was like the just Māori, being proud of our culture, being proud of the way Māori does things, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Being proud of the way Māori, the way we go about our business and whatnot. I remember one of your things, I'm sure it was that year, is like the way Māori people learning in what was it? What was your basketball one? Basketball tonga?
Yeah. So
then learning through like Māori practices and whatnot.
Yeah, bro. So it was like being able to teach like basketball skills using our ancient knowledge.
Yeah. So there was something like just a whole new awareness to all of this, because I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty plastic and still am now, when I call it, but it doesn't mean that I wasn't proud, if that makes sense. Like, definitely proud, and as I probably get a little bit older and seen a bit more and whatnot, it's like we have it pretty good, or not pretty good, like it's pretty special to have a culture like the Māori culture and be a part of it and have it sort of in your blood, especially traveling the world and stuff. Some places don't have that kind of culture, or that like, it's like a sense to like something to do with like the spiritual side of it. It's like pretty special, and like the culture side, but it means a lot. Probably, like, I still come back to Kōrero when I can. I still, obviously my sister still lives there, and I still see, like, the young youth, and try to keep up with what's happening back home and whatnot. And it's I don't know, like for me, I feel like I've got the best of both worlds, where I can sort of walk in the Māori world and I can still walk in the English world. So it's like I feel like I could sort of bridge between both comfortably. I still can go on the marae, sweet as, and then go to like I don't know, business meeting. I don't know, that's random, but you know what I mean? Like, not business meeting, but I can walk both paths pretty comfortably. And I think some people can't, and some people don't understand or choose not to understand that. Like, I've seen that sort of ignorance from both sides. Like, I'm not going to say it's just one race to another, but I think like I sort of probably got a bit of a duty now to sort of help bridge that gap, if it sounds right.
Nice, bro. I just want to give myself a pat on the back, bro, if that's something you took away from...
No, you did. Like, I'm not going to lie, that was probably the first time I sort of had access to that sort of knowledge, because even at high school, primary, I didn't really get to experience it. Uni, sports, like that was the first time I actually experienced it. And it was sort of like I was always shy to... It wasn't that I wasn't interested in Māori, but I was always too shy because I lacked the knowledge. So I didn't want to be the guy that didn't know anything. So I never put myself in a position to try and learn. That makes sense.
One of the cool things about your year in the sports leadership program in Kawerau was that watching you guys have lots of aha moments or light bulb moments, and especially around what you talked about is that being Māori actually has lots of value, and our culture adds lots of value to our lives. So to hear you talk about that, bro, I feel like job well done to myself, if I will give myself a pat on the back.
You can take that credit, actually.
I know, that year we played a lot of sports, in particular basketball, and what's it like guarding me, bro?
Easy money. Easy.
I know Willie's got my...
When we played basketball, bro, when I was guarding you off, or we were playing like bloody wrestling or something. One elbow. Elbows. It was pretty hard.
He's got my elbow imprint on his chest.
And my jaw.
Bro, we're probably going to round up our kōrero, and the brother Dawson's got some quick fire questions for you, bro. Are you ready?
You ready? Just 6, brother. Just 6 today. So the first one, brother, is 1v1 with Jordan at basketball. First to 15, who wins?
I'm not going to win, bro. I've got old man's knees. Actually, he's actually good. How's that knee going? I might have a chance now.
Oh my, bro.
We're tough old gig. Spot up shooter. No, probably George. I'll be honest, George will win.
Okay. Who was the fastest New Zealand Sevens player?
Oh, man, this question gets asked a lot, and I actually don't even know.
Yourself?
Not me. I want to try to put a name to it. Ngāruhi McGarvey Black will be one. And Regan Ware. I'll probably say out of those two, maybe. Rugby and Rugby Black.
Next training, bro. Make it happen.
Yeah. I'll try to be the one.
Question number 3, brothers. Your best Bronco time. I know you would have done a lot of Broncos.
Our best Broncos 4:42.
Oh, bro, that's me.
That's like average in the team. Like average was the back end as well. I was like, oh, PB 4:42, and everyone's at like 4:20s and 4:30s. I was just like, bro.
Hey.
You know what the worst thing about the Bronco is? Like, I was like, my excuse is to be like, oh, I'm a bigger dude, so I'm not going to be as fast. But then Tim Mickelson, who's probably a bit taller than me and same size, he's running like his fastest is like 4:18, bro. Like it's like out the gate. So I got no excuses now. It's just unfit.
Well, that's good, bro. That's good. What's your go-to feed when you're not in training? What's your favorite thing?
Everything. All of the above. Straight up, like.
Question number 3. So 3 tips or advice for any aspiring rugby players coming up.
Work on your skills, passing, catching, like everything. To skills, like you might not have you might be athletically talented, but once you get to sort of top level, everyone's on the same page. You need something to sort of separate you, and it's usually skills. Skills. Work on your skills. I would like to say, I don't want to be like cliche.
Sometimes cliches are, it's actually the best.
Yeah. Be more like a specific skills. Well, I just had one. Have a good work ethic. Like it sounds, have a good strong work ethic. Like when you're either training in a team or it's summertime and you're by yourself, like you gotta be able to train in front of like the coach, or when the coach isn't watching, you gotta be able to train hard. So have a strong work ethic. And thirdly, enjoy what you do. Like if you're just training because you want to be a professional rugby player, but you're not passionate about it or don't enjoy it, then you're wasting your time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did, bro.
I reckon that's probably the most important one. Is just if you enjoy what you do and you're passionate about it, you're going to do well.
Nice.
Nice. Last one, brother. What's some aspirations in your rugby career? Like, what's the next 5 years? Like, you looking to make a transition to 15s, or you really want to go to 7s?
I have actually jotted down a goal, and it's to go to the Olympics and win gold medal next year.
Beautiful.
Probably it's not going to be easy, but like it's the whole point of it. So like it's something that sort of drives me to do well. So the Olympic gold medalist is my next aspiration.
Man,
if it was easy, everyone would do it, bro.
Pardon?
If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a goal. You always heard, if your goal doesn't sort of scare you a little bit, then it's not big enough. And that one still, go on. That one sort of fits that description.
Bro, that's amazing, bro. I just want to, on behalf of Te Wānanga Aotearoa and Rangatahi Kei Runga podcast, Willie, thank you very much for your time, bro. I really appreciate you sharing your experiences, your stories. And I know there's some young people out there who do look up to you, bro, and especially in our small community, but across the country as well, representing, the New Zealand team and the All Black Sevens. And, comes huge responsibility. And as a young Māori man from kōrero, you're definitely inspiration, not just to young people, bro, but even old fellas like us, bro. We look at you and we're very proud, bro. So thank you very much for your time, brother.
Sweet as. It was good. It's good to see you, and nice to meet you, bro. Thanks for having me. It was a good experience. Cool.
We'll get that 1v1 going too. Too much.
Yeah. Earlier the better, to be honest. The one that need to be fully recovered.